Welcome back to A Life I Choose. And
You
we're
were at the tender age of 24.
32.
Usually. So he introduces me to Emma. And he says like, "Hi Pete, this is Emma." They used to do this.
Always on your bike, so his biker helmet, in his hand.
It's Brie.
Hola! Welcome back to A Life I Choose, the place to be to design your life so you can thrive. Thrive! So, today Pete and I are filming an anniversary Q&A. So this started because it was our anniversary last week.
11 days.
And it was our 4-year wedding anniversary. And on Instagram I said, like, guys, we thought it would be cool if we filmed a Q&A about our relationship, and you guys liked the idea and sent in questions for us, and they're really lovely questions. There were questions that were like similar to each other, so I kind of put them together. I wrote them all down in my copybook, so we'll go through them. And
You were at the tender age of 24.
32.
You're sure you're 32?
Yes, I'm 32.
You act much older.
So anyway, it's in my copybook, and let's get to the questions. So the first question is, and quite a few people wanted to know this, how did we meet and what made us fall in love with each other? You like to tell the story, maybe you tell it?
So I used to work in an architecture firm called Architecture Project. At the time I was working on the Citygate project, and we were relatively stressed. We were like almost like a team in a, like, I wouldn't say an office in an office, but we were like a team to ourselves in the office. And the office used to get a lot of requests for interns and kind of like people working over summer, so there'd be a lot of people coming through every summer. And one day the CEO comes round with this lovely blonde girl.
I used to be blonde.
So he introduces me to Emma, and he says like, "Hi Pete, this is Emma." They used to do this all the time, and my normal reaction would be like, "Hi, how are you doing? Can we get on with work?" And Emma told me, "Hi, how are you?" I think he said not how are you doing, he said, "How are you?" And my body actually stopped and went, "How am I?" And there was something a bit strange about the interaction to me. So like from the first time we met, I think there was something about Emma that kind of like cut through the kind of like normal protection mechanisms, or like the mechanisms that just like I used to use to just in my head be more efficient. So basically met at the office.
Yeah, and the question, what made us fall in love with each other? There was an attraction pretty fast, like it was very magnetic. Hey.
Well, you were engaged to someone else, so
I was engaged to someone else, so it wasn't
it
something.
wasn't one of these like.
We didn't get together right away.
Exactly.
We just.
I think we both recognized something in each other. Like at the time, we were kind of like staying away from each other to some extent.
Exactly. Like we liked each other, and we used to avoid each other because like I was planning my wedding to someone else, and I guess
I
you
was
avoided
planning my bachelorhood for the rest of my life.
Exactly. But still there was like this attraction, and what made us fall in love, I guess sort of the attraction pulled us together.
I just kind of, I feel the fact that we met at work, at least from my end, I got lucky because I know I'm the kind of guy you need to kind of like hang around with for a while to get into. Like this has always been my impression kind of thing. Like my tactic has always been to like hang around for a long time. So
It's not true though.
well, yeah, that's the way I see it.
Okay.
So the fact that we were at work, we kind of like saw each other in different ways. Like she used to see me at work, where maybe I'm like a bit more naturally like in control, and like
He was, okay, I can tell you like one thing that made me really attracted to him. He was a bad boy.
bad boy.
You used to come to work late on your bike, always on your bike. So his biker helmet, in his hand. He always looked grumpy when he walked in.
It's the morning. What the fuck?
And I used to sit right by the doors, so people would walk in, and I was always like, good morning, and everyone would like chat with me. I mean, to the point that one day the CEO moved my place so that like less people would speak to me, less people would distract me.
Or rather, you would distract less people, I suppose.
No, they would walk in and talk to me. I'd be there working, and they'd be like, "Hi, how are you?" And so on. So, but Pete would walk in, and I'd be like, "Good morning," and he'd be like, and just like walk straight past me. And I'm very attracted to being ignored, apparently. But what I liked about Pete was that he was a real bad boy, like, and he used to party and he used to have fun, but he used to work hard as well, and I really liked that. Like, he would come to work late, like while everybody had been in the office for like an hour and a half.
And doing nothing but checking their emails and checking Facebook and surfing the web.
But then when he was working, boom, he was working, and he would just work until like late at night. And I knew this because there were some nights I would have to stay late because we'd have deadlines or whatever, and I would see him there always. And I remember there was one time you went away, you had to go to Rome or Italy somewhere.
Paris, probably Paris.
I don't know, but I missed you. Like, I felt that you weren't in the office, you know.
Sweet.
And I actually went on the leave sheet to see when you were coming back. I did. I did.
Oh, cute.
So I hope that answers your question. It only took us 9 minutes to answer it,
think,
so let's move on.
Go for the editing techniques.
How often do we fight on average per week?
Per week?
This was another common question.
It obviously depends on the definition of fight, but like get to a place where we're
annoyed with each
other, whatever, I would say 3.273 per week.
Per week?
Yeah.
Or per day?
Oh, per week.
We fight. We're a couple who like we argue.
Yeah.
Like, you know, kind of, we get on each other's nerves, we misunderstand each other. What's this? What was that? I missed that.
You're saying we.
Oh, I do this all on my own. I just create this all on my own. Co-creation doesn't exist here. Yeah, no, we are a couple who we're passionate, and we're passionate in all ways. So kind of, yeah, we argue. So on average per week, I don't even know. I think we go through periods as well. Like, there are times when we argue more.
Oh, fair enough. Yeah.
Because there are issues that we need to address, and then there are times where we barely argue and we're getting along like fine. It's easy. I mean, it's generally easy. Like, we have a good life together. We have a good base. Why are you laughing?
Because I feel like you're feeling bad about the fact that we fight and you're trying to explain it.
No, I don't feel bad about it, because I know that, like, in fact, I'm preparing a radio show about it right now. It's not conflict that causes relationships to break down, it's emotional responsiveness. So a couple can fight, like, that's fine. It's actually really, really healthy to argue, because you're showing yourself to the other person, and you're seeing the other person, and you're valuing what each other has to say. It's how you fight, it's not the fact that you fight. So if you fight and there's no emotional responding, there's no holding, it's just like, fuck you, like, and you know, or one of you zones out, that's gonna break down the relationship. But if you can fight, and then you can come back together and you can tune in and understand what's behind the argument, you know, because all arguments are a request for love, or they're a request for connection. And we argue because of fears of loss of love. So even though it might seem like we're arguing about what somebody spent money on, or what
The
last thing we argued about.
So somebody over here, what is it?
The other day when we started laughing, because you told me, like, it can't be that it's checkmate, checkmate, checkmate. We were standing in our corridor and we were arguing. It was basically triggered from a fear of loss of love.
Yeah, they all are in some
They're all.
Take it there,
But once you understand this, because then we respond from a place of fear, right? So we accuse and we blame, and then we misunderstand each other and we create stories in our heads, and then we come to each other with that. and then the person accusing, then the other person becomes defensive, moves away, and then the person accusing gets even more. This is typically our dynamic, right? It's like I get upset and then you become defensive, and then I get more upset that you go away. Yeah, and then it's that kind of thing. But anyway, we were here, and I'm very good at. My mother trained me very well. Mom, I gotcha. Trained me very well in arguing, because my mom and I used to argue all the time when I was a teenager. And like, you just couldn't win with her, but she'll say the exact same thing about me. Like, you just couldn't win, because it was like a game of chess for us. And like, I'm very, very good at arguing. And like, you told me like everything you said, I was just like, vroom, 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 vroom.
Yeah.
And I remember once, one of my mentors told me this, and she was like, you can't do that, like, kind of, nobody's gonna want to stay if you cut them down, like, and it really stayed with me.
Then you're having the argument for the sake of the argument, at some stage, like,
you're fighting to win.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You stop fighting for what you actually want, you're fighting just
to win.
Yeah,
and when you said it to me, I laughed.
Yeah, you burst out laughing.
I burst out laughing. And I was like, okay, I'm doing it again. You know? So, yeah, that's how. But I think we kind of answered the next question as well, because the next question was, what's the most frequent thing you fight about? I would say that the most frequent thing we fight about is when a fear of loss of love comes up, or also, so kind of if one of us feels misunderstood or forgotten, or like for me it's feeling forgotten.
Okay, let me give because I feel you've been a bit big, so I'm going to give an example. Like,
okay.
So let's say we're out with my friends or something, so I have this, I kind of like belonging, so I like bonding with people, and I like being liked, basically.
Fitting in,
yeah. Okay. Excuse me. Fitting in. So I like fitting in. So
everyone does. Yeah.
But they talk, man.
Continue.
Is this your vlog? What is this?
I'm protecting you. I'm sorry. Go for it.
So what will happen sometimes is that, for example, I'll feel uncomfortable, and because I'm feeling uncomfortable, I'll say something like, I'll play macho and go like, I know the wife, or something like this, and like I'll basically like throw him under the bus.
Yeah.
So I suppose that fear of love happens in both with the couple, and also to some extent kind of belonging with people outside the couple.
Absolutely.
And probably from my space it's more that I go out and leave you behind, kind of thing.
Yeah. And
from your space it's more like from the inside, kind of thing.
How do you support each other during stressful periods, be it work, family, stuff, etc.?
To me it's kind of like taking the decision to put energy in the relationship. Like, so the best support is to actually, and in my brain I actually have to do it. Sometimes I actually have to go like, screw it, she needs you, get the stuff that's in your head and all this like to-do list and plans, and like put them aside for a while and sit down and listen.
Absolutely.
Because otherwise I sometimes listen without actually, like, and my head will be somewhere else, and she'll obviously notice, because she's somewhat perceptive. So I think the most support is to just take time, or to schedule taking time. So if you're really busy at that time, at least you say, listen.
Yeah.
Like, one of the things we had learned once is to actually say, like, shall we put this argument on hold?
Yeah.
Which gets useful sometimes, and then we say, like,
you learn to calm
but
down.
But then you learn how
well.
to actually like address it again. You don't just like let it.
Exactly. You put it on hold and then you address it later, and in a way that gives you the time to process it. You step out of that fight or flight reaction, because when you're fearing loss of love, you step into fight or flight, and then you can't see anything clearly because not enough oxygen is getting to the front of your brain where you make sense of things. It's all going to the baser parts of your brain. So putting a fight on hold actually gives you that space, like, to process it, to make sense of what's going on within you. And then once you make sense of it, then you can communicate it more clearly to your partner. So, another thing is, aside from scheduling the time, which is massively important, is having the heartfelt communication. So like Pete said, like when, I'll be talking and sometimes he's not present, and obviously I do this sometimes too. It's about choosing to be present, choosing to tune in, choosing to allow what the other person is saying to have an impact on you, to feel them. to feel where they are. So if they're sad, to feel it, not to go sad with them to the point that you're no help, but to be moved by what they're saying, so that
to make them feel seen, I suppose, it's something like technology.
Exactly, because safety comes when you feel understood, and that usually alleviates everything. When you feel that your partner understands, sees, cares about and values you, it doesn't matter how imperfect your relationship is, or the fact that you argue, or the fact that, you know, there can be any kind of stress, illness, money, whatever. When you know you belong with your partner no matter what, that's where the safety comes from. Okay, so this is from my sister, Lulu's, and she asks, Pete, who is your favorite in-law?
It's Brie.
You're serious? You're being so mean right now.
Why am I being mean?
It's true, Leon.
Next.
Cheeky. You know how much she loves you. Be nice to
True.
her.
What am I supposed to do?
You're serious?
No, I'm just joking, yeah.
That's not to be mean.
Then I would be mean to Andrew. And you know how touchy-feely Andrew is, even though
So
he doesn't
are you
know.
saying you love them all
Yeah, I'm saying I love them all.
equally?
I love them all. It's like choosing kids. How can you choose kids? Like, you tell me, do I love Georgia or Alice more? You don't do that. Or like Annie or Elisa.
You love them all in different ways. Eh?
Yeah.
Exactly.
I love you, Lou, right? A lot.
Okay. How do you manage to find enough time for a busy schedule and quality time? Obviously, living together makes it easier. Maybe before you were living together.
I'm not sure that living together makes it easier. To be
It
honest.
doesn't actually, because you sort of start to, you can very easily get into the pattern where you take each other for granted, because you know you're going to see each other later, so you don't actually schedule time. So to answer your question, like from my end, this is how we make quality time together, because our schedules are jam-packed, like as in we both run our own businesses, it's very, very busy, you know, like we go, and we learned that we have to schedule time for each other, because otherwise you end up putting it on the back burner always, and then your relationship starts to crumble, it starts to fall apart, because there isn't the space for the heartfelt communication. And also, if you're not taking care of yourself and each other, then you meet each other in this stressed out state, and you start to associate each other with that stressed out state. So it's not necessarily that your partner's stressing you out, but you come from, you know, dealing with a lot of stuff,
come home and the first person you see is your partner,
and then you
they
associate
want to
it with
talk to
them,
you, and like you
you
get
know?
stressed about that, and instead of saying like, listen, I need some time, you try to talk to them, but you're stressed.
Exactly.
So
You need to like make space for your own needs, because if you are stressed out and if you're not taking care of yourself, there's no way you're going to be able to meet your partner's needs, because their needs are going to feel like a fucking burden, you know? So you need to be...
it's interesting you mentioned that. I think even taking care of yourself is part of it.
Absolutely.
So one, I think it's quality over quantity as well. So even half an hour or even 10-15 minutes every day could make a massive difference, as long as you actually kind of like cut everything else out and kind of take time together. So sometimes we'll sit down for dinner together and we'll make sure that we have time together, but we ask each other before we do that, because if it becomes an assumption,
Yeah, it's
then it
true.
becomes a burden. So
It's
like,
true.
you know, you have to sit down when you're actually, you feel like there's silence. The last thing you want to do is like sit down and have a meaningful conversation with somebody.
It's true.
So
We'll ask each other, shall we have dinner at the table, or do you want to watch something? And I know it might seem like a really bad habit to watch something, but sometimes we need to turn off because we're tired. And that's okay. And then sometimes what will happen is we'll share after dinner, like we would have, you know what I mean, we'll connect then. So like you're saying, just that 10 minutes is good. But then also we schedule date nights. So like once every 2 weeks we have date night. That got us into a good habit, and now we end up having date nights even more often.
yeah,
Just
like we go to brunch often, or we do something together.
we go swimming, like
But I said, we go swimming early in the morning, for example, so that's interesting because you kind of have time together before you start the day.
Exactly.
But I suppose it's just, that's our version of it, so I'm pretty sure couples with kids have a different reality, so they might not be able to do the same thing. But it's more kind of just like
But they have their
trying
own way.
to sit down and say, okay, like what are the, you know, like, when are we going to spend time together where we're actually together?
But listen, this thing of couples with kids, I mean, there are couples with kids who don't run their own businesses, so it's a different reality. Like, or there are couples with kids who have loads of external support. So kind of having kids isn't an excuse for not making time for each other.
What I'm saying is it doesn't depend on the actual solution we're offering. Like,
yeah, no, like everybody has to find their own solution.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. But basically the answer is prioritize it, plan it, schedule it, because if you just wait for it the moment, there's always going to be something that you perceive is more urgent, like client emails or taking care of a family member or whatever. There's always going to be something, and if you keep putting your partner on hold on the back burner, like, that's going to kill your relationship faster than anything. So yeah, prioritize it. Last question. What's the best thing you love about each other?
I think the thing I love the most about Emma is the fact that she's honest and she drives honesty, and also the fact that, like, it's obvious that you want the relationship to work. So for me, it's kind of like you have energy for the relationship, and you kind of, even though it might be like, I was gonna say that you ask for honesty, like, but it's not just ask for honesty, you are honest as well. So like, I think the fact that you're not asking for something which you don't deliver yourself is very nice.
What I love about you is your commitment to our growth as a couple, your commitment to your growth as a person, and your commitment to our growth as a couple, that no matter what we've experienced, you always come back, you always want to work on it. So you're willing to learn, you're willing to do. It's not been something that I've had to force on you, you know. It's not been like, listen, you really need to do this for our relationship. It's just something that you do willingly, you know. So as imperfect as our relationship is, because there's no such thing as a perfect relationship, you're always putting energy into it to make it better and to make it joyful and playful and to make our love grow.
Now I kiss.
I think we can, I mean, we have no questions left, so we'll wrap this up. Guys, thank you so much for tuning in, and if you enjoyed this video, please give it a like. If you would like to see more videos like this, please let us know in the comment section below. And if there was a specific topic that you want us to talk more about, just let us know below, whether it's like whatever it is, whatever sparked your interest, just let us know. Tell us, hey, I want to know more about this, like, and you know, we'll create another video about that. So don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already, and hit the little bell notification to be informed. The what? The bell, oh, okay. I always forget if the bell is on this side or that side. So hit the bell notification just in case, not just in case, to be notified whenever we put out a new video. We put out new videos every Monday and Thursday, and we shall see you for the next one. Sending you loads of love.
Ciao, ciao.
Bye.